Well, thank you all so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. It's been a pleasure to be coming for the last couple months, and I'm starting to see a lot of familiar faces here. My name's Tyler Frankenberg. I'm with Albemarle Limousine and Travel Service. And you also see included in some of your paperwork today a brochure for our Blue Ridge wine excursions. So we also offer wine excursions. And I've placed around the room strategically some binders that talk about all the services that we offer, and I hope that you'll take the chance to flip through and pass them along. At the end of the talk, I'll open some time for questions, so we're happy to be a resource to you all and all the services that you offer, and I hope that the binders will help you identify some questions you may have about our services and how we can be a resource to you. But I want to start off by telling you the story of our company and how we started, and it's the story of young love and entrepreneurship. It started with a young lady about 10 years ago who graduated from UVA. She'd grown up right off of Rugby Road, gone to UVA and graduated, and was working at Plow and Hearth up in Ruckersville. And there was a young man who was a Darden MBA student who was on a class trip to Plow and Hearth. And at some point during this class trip, they met and experienced love at first sight. And fast forward a year, we're in the stressful and emotional process of planning a UVA chapel wedding. Throughout this whole stressful and emotional months-long process, the groom-to-be is the perfect groom-to-be. He's different and he's repetitive. He keeps saying, "Yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear, whatever you say, dear." But somewhere along the line, in between all these yes, dears, he lets slip, "Wow, wouldn't it be cool if I had a really cool car to be driven away from the wedding reception in?" And hearing that one little request, the parents of the bride took that on as their personal mission to make that happen for the groom-to-be. But what they found at that time was there was no service in the Charlottesville area, nowhere, in fact, south of Washington, D.C., that could offer a vintage limousine, an old restored car to be part of that getaway. And so what they ended up having to do was rely on a friend to provide his 1960 Citroën convertible. It was a great surprise for the groom. It really made the night for him. And months and years later, the people who were in attendance at that wedding, that was the thing that they went back to and said, "Wow, we're still talking about that car. How cool was that?" So as Charlottesville was becoming a bigger and bigger wedding destination in the years after the wedding, the parents of the bride recognized that they could provide this special experience to all these people who are coming in to visit Charlottesville and want to have something really memorable as part of their wedding getaway. And so they acquired a few 1940s vintage limousines, Jaguars, Cadillacs, and Packards, and started Albemarle Vintage Limousine in 2008. And you might see these cars driving around. We have a beautiful pearl white senior Packard. And so this really caught on. It's become something that a lot of people use in their weddings around Charlottesville, and certainly did at the time. And as the vintage limousines gained popularity, we started providing other services, guest shuttling for big groups of wedding guests from their hotels in Charlottesville out to the venues. We bundled this together with the vintage limousines and provided a resource where we could be one call for all of your wedding transportation needs. In 2011, after meeting a lot of the people who ran these wedding venues, who are wineries, the parents of the bride, the owners of Albemarle Vintage Limousine, started Blue Ridge Wine Excursions because they had met so many people who were entrepreneurs and had these great stories to tell through their work at the wineries out in Virginia wine country along the Monticello Wine Trail. So we started Blue Ridge Wine Excursions, and the way a Blue Ridge Wine Excursion works is it's a 5-hour tour. It starts in Charlottesville, pick up at a hotel or private residence. We can do service for groups of 2 up through 55 or even more, going to 3 to 4 wineries and setting up tastings with the wineries there for the group. We specialize in telling those entrepreneurial stories of the people who started these wineries. And have made a very memorable and special experience for all the people who have come out on the trail to experience it. Now, Wine Tour, of course, is all about creating a great, memorable experience, and that really shows in the way our chauffeurs, our trained chauffeurs and wine trail guides approach all of our business. We've expanded to become a full-service ground transportation company. We offer service from all the major airports. We offer shuttle services to UVA and corporate organizations. We maintain a huge affiliate network, and a fleet of vehicles locally so that we can provide service, Mercedes sedans up through 55 passenger coaches for any size event and for any size group. Our commitment to service and to being a resource and a personal resource for the people that we serve shows in the way that we've provided service to some of the people in this room, provided group transportation for Branchlands on their trips up to Shenandoah National Park, for the Senior Center on their travel to cruises and airports, on their way out to travel around the world. And in one of the March snowstorms that we experienced this year, we were able on that day to provide SUV service for a speaker coming into the Senior Center to get him in from Washington, D.C. On the day of without any hiccups from the snow. So we love, as people from Charlottesville, as people passionate about this area, passionate about the partners that we work with and the venues that we serve, we're happy to be a resource to the people that we consider neighbors. And I'm happy to speak to all of you today about how we can be a resource to you. I want to open it up to questions at this time.